Hello guys, I am back. It is me. I am going to be talking about my 3 favourite games once again, but this time only the last one because I've done the other 2. The very last game I'll be talking about is Space Marine 2. But guys, something has happened, and I'm sorry to say, but Space Marine 2 isn't feeling as fun for me as it used to before I played Elden Ring. Which is a little bit sad because this game was my favourite game. But as of the time I'm making this video, I've kind of run out of time to change it to a different game, and I don't really know what other game to put it as. So I've just kind of got to go with it. So I've decided to go off a little bit of a different formula to the other 2 games. So I'm going to talk about what I liked about this game, and then kind of when I came back to it, I got a bit disinterested by it. And a few other things. Let us begin! But first off, a funny clip, because I did that in some of the other 2 videos.
Alright kids, this better be good. I was in the forest wrestling with a bear claw when we got the call.
So, what did I actually like about Space Marine 2? The finishers! The freaking finishers! I mean, I genuinely think finishers, such as the ones that's demonstrated inside of Space Marine 2, would make a lot of games a lot more adrenaline-fed, pumped sort of kind of stuff going on there. I mean, just imagine Elden Ring, but instead of them going to dust, you could do a finisher. Now, I'm aware how silly this sounds, but just imagine you're on the Elden Beast, the final boss of the entire game, and you get to rip its head off as the final thing instead of it just fade away into dust. And everything you've just done is like, well, that was cool. Just imagine like a really climactic finishing move on the Elden Beast, so you get to like pull its head off or something. You don't even have to do that, like just a cool final attack so that you can seize the opportunity to do. I think a lot of games could possibly benefit from something like that, such as Animal Crossing. Okay, but jokes aside, I generally think having climactic final moves on the boss would make it feel like all that time spent learning the boss moves and all the mechanics that the boss has to do and you setting up builds to beat this boss, feel like it all pay off with that final animation. And instead of you flipping out at your TV, you get to see your character basically do something so cool and makes it feel so worth it. Another thing I liked about Space Marine 2 quite a bit was how they got the motion and movement of the character like channeling through the controller so well. I mean, it's from us being on the PS4 to PS5, it was one of the first games we got, and having like the nearly entirety of the PS5 making it feel like you're a Space Marine and feeling every step of the Space Marine like vibrate through the controller as he walked about felt so cool, and it still does feel so cool. It really helps with the atmosphere that it's trying to give you, that you're this hulking man monster like machine thing. It's just the coolest thing. And the movement for Space Marine 2 is great, just the way they've captured it so perfectly that you are this, monster of a man. It's just so cool. The whole device seems to be doing everything in its power to just allow you to feel so immersed as this character. It's so good. Another thing I liked a lot about Space Marine 2 was the cosmetics. There's a lot, and all your different chapters from Space Marines and stuff are there, and it's so cool that you can customize it to fit the perfect chapter you're playing as, and then go in as fight as it. It's amazing. I think they managed to grab the element that you originally paint these characters, and then you paint them how you want, into this game pretty well, where I can change every single individual armor piece to the colour that I like it, even to the eyes, they can be what colour I want. And then they also keep adding new cool armor pieces that you can get depending on the faction you're playing. It's so cool, dude. Now, another thing I think Space Marine 2 did really well is its story mode and just the spectacle of it. When I first played through these, it got me looking around every inch of the screen to see all the tiny details. It's so cool. I think the graphics of the game also lend into this really well and managed to, because of just how good the graphics are of this game, you're able to really feel even more immersed, even with the walking and all the surroundings and stuff. It looks so good. Like, you can really tell they went out of their way to just make it such a surreal experience. Now, I think the biggest thing I loved about this game was that I could play as a Space Marine and smash up Tyranids, just like I've been playing on the tabletop for so long. I just absolutely love the Warhammer 40k aesthetic. I'm addicted to painting the miniatures as well. I absolutely love that. But being able to just get to play in the world, and it's so atmospheric and you can really feel like the characters, is amazing. An absolutely amazing thing you get to have. It's such a privilege. I think the aggressive play style of the game is a really fun aesthetic to bring with the Space Marines and all the Warhammer 40k stuff. It feels so right, like just running through all the enemies and blasting them to bits and ripping them apart. It's just so fun. It's so fun. Okay, so where do I think Space Marine 2 kind of fails on trying to keep it as fun, as engaging as it used to be? I think let's start with the difficulty of Space Marine 2. After playing Elden Ring, my ideal or ideas of difficulty was kind of raised by quite a bit. But I'm not saying that Space Marine 2 isn't challenging. There are challenging aspects to Space Marine 2, and quite a few of them as well. I still find the game challenging by turning up the difficulty number. And it's that difficulty number that I want to talk about, because I think that's the biggest problem with the game, or one of the biggest problems. See, Space Marine 2 works by, I can have level 1 difficulty, or I can turn the dial up to be like level 5 or something, to make the game harder for me. But I think that's the problem. The fact that I can just turn the dial up and it gets harder, I think that's a problem. Because I'm still fighting the same enemies. I'm still fighting the tiny Termagants, the big guys, and all the stuff. But it's the same set enemies, the same animations. They've just had their numbers higher so that they take more damage and they'll do more damage to me. But even though I'm progressing and getting better stuff, the enemies I'm fighting are still getting bigger and better. So no matter how high I get into the game, I'm still fighting enemies that are the same level as me. So nothing changes, and they're still the same enemies as well. I'm not moving on to the next set of enemies that's different and new and has new animations and new things to look forward to. It's the same guys again. So this kind of difficulty can get kind of repetitive, because once you've played the first few, there's nothing super new or special to look forward to when you fight against the next few enemies. It's all the same characters. There's no new enemy puzzle to figure out. There's no weaknesses to exploit. It's just, I can kill that character by doing this, and now I've leveled up. That character's just harder, and I'm still doing the same thing to beat that character. Do you get where I'm coming from?
But Helldivers 2 also has a difficulty dial where you can make it harder.
Saying. But the difference with Helldivers 2 and Space Marine 2 is that Helldivers, the difficulty dial, brings in new enemies into the mix with different mechanics to deal with and other stuff like that. But also it increases the frequency of those original enemies you would be fighting. So alongside the new enemies you have to deal with, you also have the same basic infantry enemies in higher quantity, which makes it more difficult and more stressful for you trying to figure out what the weaknesses of the new character is. But also there's still that enemy that used to be hard is now a horde enemy coming at you. Now the point I'm going to make here is kind of a personal point from me, but this also is a video about my opinion, so yeah. So I think the level design of Space Marine 2 can get slightly redundant after a bit. No, I was just saying that the level design of the story modes and other stuff is so captivating. It makes you want to look around every inch of the screen to see all the tiny, amazing details. And I know whilst I did say that, and I still stand by it, but after you've experienced all the tiny details that the whole screen has to offer and all that sort of stuff, the level kind of loses its magic and what keeps it so interesting. But then you also might be like, well, the Helldivers 2 maps don't have a bunch of crazy detail, and how come they stay interesting? And that's because of the actual game design of the map. You see, when you play Space Marine 2, you're walking through the map to get to the big objective they need to complete. Now, with Helldivers 2, it's similar but different, because you have the whole map to go as a team and try and figure out how to deal with the problem or the objective that you need to complete. And this creates this sort of room for creative freedom and strategization, which keeps it fun multiple times and much longer than the level where you're going down one particular track to get to the big thing. I know you don't play through the same level of Helldivers 2 twice, but I think you probably could because of just how it's laid out and that you can plan and think and go at it as a team in different ways. Where you failed at one point, you can go again and try it in a different maneuver. What's with Space Marine 2, it's more about pushing forward to that big objective. And I feel like it's not as fun for me because there's less puzzle solving with it and the creative freedom of whatever I want to do. And so because of this sort of one-way style of completing the level, it kind of loses its thrill after a bit. A lot of my issue is with Space Marine 2 is that you can only really experience it in all of its beauty and glory once, because you can only see all the big spectacles and little details on the levels once, and then you kind of know it. You can only experience the 5 different animations they have for finishers once, and then it just begins to be like, oh, I've had that one before. It doesn't keep its magic over a long period of time. The game itself is so fun. It's a really fun game to play in general. The art style is amazing and all that sort of stuff, but it's not able to sort of keep you hooked on it for crazy long. It's sort of one of those games where you enjoy it, but you kind of can't keep the thrill. At least that's my personal experience. So after all this, what's my final opinion on Space Marine 2? I think Space Marine 2, when you first come at it, is loads of fun when you first experience the game. It's just enjoyable, the combat's fun, the levels are really good, but it doesn't have much to offer you when you're coming back to the game after doing something else for a bit, or once you've experienced most of what they have to offer, there isn't much to come back to. So Space Marine 2 kind of has this phase of brilliance, and then it kind of gets a bit redundant after a bit, which is a shame because it's a really, really, really good game, and when you play it, it's really, really fun, but you can only play it so much before it gets boring, and then it kind of loses its magic, but it's a really good game. So it's a bit of a shame that it's probably not going to be in my top 3 anymore, but I think it's definitely in the top 10, or at the time, it was my number 1 game. So, thanks for listening.